morning, Malacañang Press Corps and guests. Welcome sa sa Bangon Marawi press briefing with Communications Secretary Martin Andanar.
Hi, Rocky. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, members of the Malacañang Press Corps. Good morning to all watching on PTV and our Facebook page, and to all those watching the other network. And good morning also to Secretary Duque, who is here with us today to answer your controversial questions. And we also have here our one of our mainstays, General Padilla. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Secretary.
Is missed. And good morning also to General Ayuyao from the JAGO, Armed Forces of the Philippines. We also have a guest among you guys. It's Saul from the Rolling Stones magazine, and Mother Jones magazine. He just flew in from New York, so I hope you welcome him. Ready to rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen of the Malacañang Press Corps, good morning once again. We are pleased that our efforts to restore Marawi City and other war-torn areas continue to move forward. Joining us, of course, I mentioned earlier, is Secretary Duque, and we have General Padilla. As more IDPs come home, we strive to keep our hopes up that they would go back to a peaceful and prosperous Marawi. Because this is a predominantly Muslim city, it is important to join leaders of the faith in this cause. In line with this, ulamas, imams, and other Muslim religious leaders gathered at the Grand Mosque to pray for their people. Please watch this short video on the Grand Mosque, as the sacred structure not only symbolizes the damage of this catastrophe, but also the resilience and hope of Marawi's people.
Ito na ang kalagayan ng masjid o Grand Mosque dito sa gitna ng lungsod ng Marawi matapos ang gyera. Nagmistulang bullet shield ang bawat bahagi nitong mosque kung saan nagtago ang ilan sa mga ISIS-inspired multi-terrorists. Maituturing isang sagradong lugar ang Grand Mosque dito sa most affected areas ng lungsod. Bahagi ito ng maimpluwensyang struktura na simbolo ng maningning na kultura at matatag na tradisyon ng isang Islamic city tulad ng Marawi. Binisita ang Grand Mosque ng mga Islamic religious leaders tulad ng mga ulamas, imam at mga traditional religious leaders upang mag-alay ng panalangin dito. Kasama sa mga bumisita sa Grand Mosque ay ang mga opisyales ng Federation of Royal Sultanate of Lanao, Marawi Sultanate League at Ulama Council of Mindanao. Kasama din na inalam ng mga bumisita ang mga pinsalang tinamo ng moske at kung paano ito isasaayos. Bagamat bakas pa rin sa mga pader at bubong nito ang mga sugat na dulot ng kaguluhan, bantayog pa rin ito ng tunay na pag-asa ng lungsod.
We have been saddened by the atmosphere of what we have seen this morning. So thank you very much, and I hope that the Philippine government, as far as their program to rehabilitate Marawi and Lanao, should be facilitated.
Sa pamamagitan ng isang mataimtim na panalangin kay Allah, umaasa ang mga kapatid nating Muslim na maririnig ni Allah ang kanilang mga pasasalamat sa pagkakataon na muling makabangon ang lungsod at panalangin na tuluyan ng maging maayos ang lahat.
I urge the people, good people of Marawi City to unite as one in rehabilitating our damaged city.
Mananawagan po kami sa mga Muslim brothers dito sa Lanao del Sur and Marawi City na dapat magkaisa tayo para labanan yung mga maling paniniwala ng among our young people.
Mula dito sa Grand Mosque, sa ground zero ng most affected area dito sa lungsod ng Marawi, Marlon Atun, Philippine Information Agency.
Given their predicament, we are committed to help these people get back on their own feet. On December 5 and 6, small business corporation, a government corporation under DTI that assists the micro, small, and medium enterprises, will distribute up to 10,000 pesos worth of loans to each of 100 eligible IDP borrowers to help them start businesses. The Subcommittee on Business and Livelihood also continue to provide sari-sari store kits, sewing tools and machines, carpentry and electronic technicians kits to the IDPs in different evacuation centers and to those residents who have already returned home to Marawi. Further, during the coordination meeting for the harmonization of programs, projects, activities for Marawi City Rehabilitation and Reconstruction on Wednesday, NEDA Undersecretary Adora Navarro emphasized the need to integrate in the PPAS the livelihood programs, especially for the youth. She also suggested to the Marawi LGU and Lanao del Sur provincial government to create a local artisans group that will help promote Maranao arts and crafts as a means of livelihood for Marawi residents. Aside from livelihood opportunities, the IDPs have concerns that require our immediate attention, and they need motivation to get their normal lives back. With this in mind, we look back at their stories from the second leg of the Mashwara, Information and Servicio Caravan.
Ready, go!
Pinaghalong galak at kasiyahan para sa mga kabataan kasama ang serbisyo karaban ang muling nasilayan sa katatapos pa lamang na Maswara. 3 evacuation centers ang tinungo ng Task Force Bangon Marawi, Municipal Civic Auditorium sa East Poblacion, Pantauragat, Gadongan Primary School sa Barangay Landa, Mahad Marcasi sa Sapakan West Poblacion, Balui sa probinsya ng Lanao del Norte. Kaagapay ang ilang mahalagang sangay ng ating pamahalaan tulad ng PIA, DOH, DTI, DSWD, AFP, DepEd at mga volunteer camp managers. Pinasaya ng Task Force Bangon Marawi ang mga bakwit na mula pa sa lungsod ng Marawi.
Marami po ito matutulungan kasi alam niyo po na mula nung nagkagulo po sa amin sa Marawi hanggang ngayon po hindi namin yun po na makakalimutan kasi masakit sa amin yun po. Nararamdaman namin na lungkot at saka ngayon masyadong nababawasan kasi masaya po kami na dumating po kayo.
Agad naman sinimulan ang serbisyo karaban ng Mashwara na labis sa tinangkilik ng mga kliyenteng bakwit sa mismong evacuation centers. May mga nagpakonsulta at binigyan ng mga gamot, may mga nagpatingin ng ngipin, pumila sa mga personal na dokumento sa satellite civil registration. Samantalang ang ilan naman ay nagpalista sa kinatawan ng DTI upang mabigyan ng posibleng pagkakakitaan. Unang itinanghal at nagpasaya sa mga batang bakwit ang AFP Juan at Juana mascots. Ang masayang magician show, mga papremyong laruan at konting pamerienda sa mga bata. Sa kabuuan, bahagi ng mga pamilya ng 1,590 sa Pantauragat, 338 sa Landa at 141 sa Sapakan West Poblacion, Lanao del Sur ang napasaya ng Mashwara. Para sa Task Force Bangon Marawi, mahalaga ang patuloy na maramdaman ng mga kababayan nating nananatili sa mga evacuation centers ang pagkalinga ng pamahalaan sa iba't ibang paraan. Ang munting ngiti sa mga labi ay simbolo ng unti-unting pagtanggap sa hinaharap na puno ng pag-asa sa isang masiglang pagbangon ng lungsod ng Marawi.
On the progress of the IDP return efforts, the Marawi LGU already conducted community mapping in barangays under cluster number 3 for the forthcoming next leg of Kambalingan. The result of the community mapping will be triangulated with a DSWD database. The concerned barangay LGUs will also submit a master list of the returning IDPs. There is no final schedule yet for the Kambalingan to Cluster 3. Please wait for further announcement of the Marawi LGU. The latest count of returnees as of yesterday, December 7, 2017, are in 19 barangays, 14,319 families, or 71,595 persons. On the supply of electricity, 54.12% of Marawi City is energized, according to the Lanao del Sur Electric Cooperative. This includes barangays where residents have already returned during the first and second batch of Kambalingan. La Sureco, in cooperation with other electric cooperatives in Mindanao, have completed 73% of the primary electric lines in Barangay Sagunsongan, where the transitional shelters for IDPs are being constructed. Let us go to the updates on health and social welfare. 68 of 135 evacuation centers in Region 10 and ARMM remain open. As of December 1, 10,576 families from clusters 1 and 2 who have already returned to the respective barangays have already accessed DSWD support and maintenance services amounting to 116,530,934 pesos. This includes financial assistance, pabaon food packs, hygiene, and kitchen kits. As for those who have not yet returned to Marawi City, DSWD is conducting continuous coordination with the barangay local government units, or BLGUs, regarding the distribution schedule. The Bangsamoro Umpungan sa Nutrisyon Team, or Bangon, is continuously providing hot meals to the returning families as well as the Kambalingan team. Meanwhile, DepEd is set to launch Brigada Eskwela sa Marawi, or BESM, on December 13 at Amay Pakpak Elementary School, with the actual implementation beginning on December 14 to 15. Each division office in the country will be paired with a Marawi City Division School to assist. Only the Mindanao offices will facilitate the actual implementation, while the DOs from Luzon and Visayas will mobilize the resources they would need. After the kickoff, quick school-level programs will be conducted, which will consist of a community signing session for a manifesto ensuring schools as zones of peace. In light of this, a press briefing will be conducted by the DepEd on December 12 in Iligan City on the BESM purpose and program flow, and another briefing will take place at Amay Pakpak Central Elementary School after the kickoff on December 13. The Supreme Court on Wednesday denied 3 motions for reconsideration and stood by its earlier ruling to uphold martial law in Mindanao, voting 10-3-1. Now, to give us updates on the Marawi situation, we have Brigadier General Restituto Padilla Jr., the spokesperson with the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and for updates on the efforts of the Health Department in the rehabilitation of Marawi City, we also have Health Secretary Francisco T. Duque III. Secretary Duque is not new as a Secretary of Health, since he was also appointed to the same position in 2005. Other notable positions the good secretary held were a chairman of the Government Service Insurance System, chairman of the Civil Service Commission, president and CEO of the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, among others. Ladies and gentlemen of the Malacañang Press Corps, let us all give a warm welcome to AFP spokesperson Resty Padilla and Secretary Duque.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Secretary Duque, thank you. Kanina po, akala ko kayo mauna eh. In any case, I'm happy to inform you that the role of the armed forces in securing Marawi as it rises up from the ashes continues progressively. But unfortunately, there has not been any additional barangays that has been opened for the return of IDPs. Previously, we were talking about 9 barangays having been opened for the return of residents, and then an additional 10. And this was the subject of the report earlier of Secretary Andanar. So of the 19 barangays, you've had the statistics. The remaining 36 barangays that are still close for returning residents remains part of the main battle area and hence cannot yet be open for any return. However, there are certain protocols that are now being established by our Joint Task Force Marawi under Brigadier General Ros Murillo, who is leading the effort on the part of the armed forces. And these protocols, I would like to make mention, are for the possibility of some residents to visit or inspect their places of residence as soon as our teams who are clearing the ground of IEDs and unexploded ordnance and other booby traps declare these areas as safe or open for any possible visit. The reason why these remaining areas remain closed is because of the slow turnout of our progress of clearing. Yan po ang kadahilanan. Ang rason po ng hindi pagbabalik dito sa mga naiiwang 36 na mga barangay na siyang nasa loob ng main battle area o kung saan nagkaroon ng malalim na at pusok na labanan sa pagitan po ng ating PERSA at ng mga terorista doon ay yung pananatili ng mga IED o mga bombang hindi pumutok at iba pa pong mga maaring naiwang patibong. So sana po naunawaan po ng ating mga kababayan dyan sa Marawi ang ating kinakailangan gawin upang ganap nating masabi na ito'y maayos na at maaari na nilang balikan nang hindi sila mapeperwisyo ng anumang klaseng hazard o anumang patibong o IED. So that is all I have for Task Force Bangon Marawi. Our engineering units remain proactively engaged with their other counterparts from the other agencies of government to pursue the continuous construction of temporary shelters that is now being undertaken in the designated area. Meron din po pala akong naisidagdag, yung sinimulan po ni General Bautista na tulungan sa isang foundation na base sa Tarlac ay nagpapatuloy at itong 500 na mga tirahan, temporary shelter na may sariling maaring pagtaniman, small garden, and decent place to stay, yung bahay na gawa sa native materials ay patuloy na tinatapos po nila. At ito po ay isasalin na sa ilang mga residente habang nakakatapos po tayo ng ilan-ilan. So yun lang po ang aking naisip parating sa inyo para ho sa aming panig sa Armed Forces in as far as Marawi is concerned.
Thank you, General Padilla. Secretary Duque, you now have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Secretary Martin, and my greetings to General Padilla and the Judge Advocate General's office, no? Okay, and to all our friends in the media. With regard to Marawi, I know you're all hot to ask questions about the dengue vaccine, but let's have some kind of a very important report in the meantime. We have stepped up the DOH. the ongoing efforts in rebuilding the city of Marawi since its liberation from the Maote terrorist group as declared by President Rodrigo Duterte on October 17. I, together with the central as well as regional officials of the DOH, visited the cities of Iligan and Marawi last November 10 in compliance with the President's directive to assist in the rehabilitation of the cities that were affected by the 5-month-long siege. And as Marawi enters its 7th week of freedom from the hands of the terrorist group, the DOH continues to respond to health challenges faced by displaced families who may have their homes and even lost their loved ones. And these people who took shelter in evacuation centers are referred to as IDPs. I think all of you know that. And they were given check-up or the tamang serbisyong pangkalusugan para sa Filipino services, which included provision of medical supplies as part of the ongoing medical assistance to all IDPs, whether staying in evacuation centers or home base. Moreover, psychological intervention has been made available to affected families and service providers in an effort to address their mental health needs. Nutrition, especially of the young children and the elderly, is another important consideration being responded to. And then the most recent data from our DOH Health Emergency Management Bureau indicated that the fighting displaced a total of 77,955 families, or 367,000 thereabouts individuals. 76 evacuation centers are still in operation, harboring 2,532 families, or 8,574 individuals. A total of 86 deaths were recorded from May 23 up to the present, with common causes being pneumonia, sepsis, cardiovascular diseases, acute gastroenteritis, and prematurity. To date, a total of 18,801 families, or 106,598 individuals from 40 barangays in Marawi have already returned home. Marawi hospitals, namely the Amay Pakpak Medical Center and the Dr. Abdullah Hospital, are on 24/7 operation, providing relevant medical services. There are 27 active referral hospitals near the city, and currently there are 22 serviceable barangay health stations and outposts in Marawi City open to the public. Excuse me. The DOH Central Office, as well as its regional offices and partner agencies, have given a total of 222,388,985 pesos worth of logistics and funding assistance to the hospitals as well as to the evacuation centers in the concerned areas. We at the DOH assure the people of Marawi that we will not waver in our efforts to rehabilitate the city through ensuring that their health needs are met on a day-to-day basis, and we ask our fellow Filipinos there to stay strong and be resilient in the everyday challenges of life. And let us be optimistic that one day we will regain the glory of Marawi. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Duque. Questions for Bangon Marawi first. Maricel Halili, TV5.
Hi, sir. Good morning. General Padilla. Sir, I understand that Secretary Cuy already confirmed that PNP has recommended Malacañang for a 1-year extension for martial law in Mindanao. May we know what's the recommendation of AFP?
Our recommendation has been submitted to the Secretary of National Defense, and the Secretary, after duly studying it, has forwarded the recommendation to Malacañang. The recommendation, I don't have the details of as to the length, but as far as I'm concerned, there is a recommendation to similarly support the recommendation of Philippine National Police. But I am not privy to the whole report, and I am not at liberty to discuss whatever it is that has been placed in the recommendation until such time that the decision has been made.
Meaning, sir, extension of martial law. Is it within Mindanao also or
Yes.
on particular places?
It is for the Mindanao area.
May we know, sir, the reason behind for a recommendation for an extension?
Well, let me discuss the statistics just so everybody can be clarified on why such a recommendation is being made. I am not privy to the report as I mentioned, but we did several briefings for members of the media earlier on. At itong mga briefing na to na ginawa natin nung kamakailan, naihayag natin para malaman ng ating mga kababayan ang rason at yung mga bagay na kailangan nating pagtuunan ng pansin. At itong mga bagay na ito ay yung mga iba't ibang armadong grupo na nananatili sa kabuuan ng Mindanao. I'm sorry, there's a foreigner in the group, so may I just also translate what I'm saying in Tagalog. As I was saying, earlier on we did a briefing for members of the media in order to communicate the basis for the extension of or the declaration of martial law previously and the many threats that we still face in the island of Mindanao particularly. Now, in the island of Mindanao, as you are well aware of, the most significant that you have been following has been the Dawla Islamiyah, where the Maute, the ASG, and other terrorist organizations are part of, and they were the ones responsible for the siege in Marawi. Now, they still remain to be a threat. Although they have significantly been degraded in terms of capability and manpower, those who survive that siege still remain at large and are attempting to recover by recruiting other members of the society, particularly the vulnerable sector of our population. And they are students, children, women, and the like, as well as relatives of those who lost their lives in the fight. So they are attempting to do that, and the primary means for which they are doing that is through enticements of cash rewards and the like. So ito pong kanilang pagre-recruit ay isang bahagi ng kanilang effort upang magpalakas uli at kanilang inaasahan na maaaring sigurong bumawi. Kaya nananatili pa rin silang isang banta sa seguridad, lalo na ng Marawi. At ayaw nating mangyari ito. This is something that we don't want to happen for this group to come back again with a vengeance, that is. And besides this group, we still face significant violent activities that are possible from the groups of the BIFF over in Maguindanao, Lanao, and Cotabato, as well as the threats brought about by the continued existence of ASG forces in the islands of Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi. The group over in Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi has had quite a challenge already because our troops have been focused. Joint Task Force Sulu under Brigadier General Sobihana, Joint Task Force Tawi-Tawi under General Parcon are doing a splendid job of keeping the peace there. And as you may well have noted, the statistics will bear me out that the incidents and attempts for getting mariners from international freighters or ships that are plying that route is zero. There were attempts to kidnap, but they were done in the proximity of the islands and targeted were locals, local fishermen and local mariners. But we have had no incident pertaining to international and maritime freighters or shipping. In addition, our engagements with Indonesia and Malaysia, that is included in our trilateral agreement with them, continues to be very relevant and very significant. This trilateral arrangement includes maritime patrols through ships and boats and patrol craft, and also air patrols using our air assets, Indonesian air assets, and Malaysian air assets. So by and large, this international engagement with our neighbors is helping a lot as we continue with our own efforts on our side of the border. So this is keeping these enemies at bay. But we still need to continue, and we still need the cover of martial law to address that bigger threat that they pose in other areas. Now, in other areas in the whole of Mindanao, following the declaration of the President of the formal end of peace talks with the CPP, NPA, and DF. Also, increasing violence initiated by the left is something to watch out for and something that we have to prepare for and confront. That's part of the reason why martial law may be needed to cover other areas where potential terrorists are in hiding. Just to highlight the significant increases in these violent incidents, from the period of January to 30 November this year, there has been a tremendous increase of 65% overall for Eastern Mindanao and Western Mindanao, with the majority falling over in the area of Eastern Mindanao, of violent incidents perpetrated by the NPA. There were a total of 617 incidents for the whole of the year, and 382 of them were committed in the Eastern Mindanao Command area and 18 in the Western Mindanao Command area by the NPA. Of these violent incidents, the telltale effect has been one to note, because in 2016, where the damage we have computed or estimate was at about over 100 million, there was a 2,000% increase in the amount on the effect of the violent incidents on business alone. 2.4 billion per our estimate was the amount of establishments, assets of government, construction companies, and other businesses that have gone up in flames. Arson alone yan. So itong mga patuloy na ginagawang karahasan at kaguluhan na nagsisimula sa hanay ng New People's Army ay isang bagay na seryoso natin tinitingnan dahil nakakaapekto na to sa ating ekonomiya. At ang mga seryosong naapektuhan ay ang mga maralita na sa kanila nakatuon ang mga infrastrukturang proyekto na ating ginagawa. Kasi karamihan sa kanilang inaatake ay pag-atake sa mga construction companies na nagsasagawa ng ng infrastrukturang proyekto tulad ng farm-to-market roads at mga iba pang infrastructure projects. So we cannot let this continue on. And I think the President is fully aware of this. That is why he had to formally end peace talks because of this continued violent incidents and its effect on our economy. Now, just to segue a bit, nais ko lang pong ipaliwanag sa karamihan na hindi nakakaintindi na bakit natin kailangan seryosohin po itong mga nangyayari ngayong huling mga linggong ito, ay dahil ang panig po ng armed forces at ng ating buong gobyerno, ang hinahangad po natin ay magdulot ng maayos na kabuhayan sa ating mga mamamayan. We desire to improve the economy, particularly in the area of Mindanao, and we cannot do that unless there is stability. And stability can only be had if there is peace. Yan po ang ating inaasam at hinahangad na nais pong magdala ng napakaraming infrastrukturang proyekto ang ating gobyerno upang maibsan po ang kahirapan na nararamdaman ng ating mga kababayan at magbago at mag-improve o umangat ang kanilang antas sa buhay. Pero hindi ho mangyayari yan lahat kung yung stabilidad o ang kapayapaan ay hindi mangingibabaw. At yan po ang unang hinangad ng ating mahal na Pangulo sa unang kanyang ibinigay na SONA. In the first State of the Nation address of the President, let us remember that he tried to lay the predicate for peace by initiating a unilateral ceasefire on the part of government, which initially was very promising. Pero unfortunately, 2017, February, was when it started to end. The left themselves did not want to pursue the ceasefire and just wanted to fight and talk. Now, it was during that period when many of the violent incidents reached its height. When they ended the peace talks in February, the incidents numbered 78 at the end of January to February, first 2 weeks, 82 towards March, 71 incidents in April, 72 again in May, and 80 in June. This by far this year, these were the most number of incidents, violent incidents perpetrated by the NPA. So you can see that they were trying to talk peace, but they were not sincere. Hindi nila pinakikita ang kanilang sinseridad dahil sa sa aking pong binanggit at ibinigay sa inyong statistics, na maliwanag po dito na habang nag-uusap po tayo ng kapayapaan, doon po yung pinakamadami at pinakamarahas na mga insidenteng kanilang ginawa. Yan po yung sa parte ng Eastern Mindanao. Habang tayo po ay kaharap naman natin ng mga terorista sa may panig ng Western Mindanao, ito naman po ang ginagawa ng kaliwa sa may panig ng Eastern Mindanao. Kaya batay po dito sa nakikita nating mga banta, yun po ang maaaring naging dahilan ng ating rekomendasyon na nagbuhat sa pulis at nanggagaling po sa ating armed forces.
Okay, thank you,
Sana
General.
maliwanag po yun.
Thank you, General Padilla. Last 3 questions about Bangon Marawi. Rose Novenario to be followed by Raymond and Joseph Morong.
Hi, good morning, General.
Magandang umaga.
Sir, ano ho yung nakikita niyong dahilan sa paglakas ng puwersa ng New People's Army, particular po dun sa sinabi niyo sa Eastern Mindanao, considering po na since last year sa Davao bombing, nakataas naman po yung state of emergency. At nung panahon po ng May, hanggang ngayon ay umiiral yung martial law. Paano pa po sila nakapagpalakas ng puwersa kung may umiiral pong batas militar sa Mindanao?
Tandaan po natin ang batas militar po na unang pinatupad natin ay nakatuon ng pansin sa mga terorista sa may lugar ng Marawi, Lanao, Cotabato at ibang parte ng Western Mindanao. Atin pong kasalukuyang sinasagawa ang usapang pangkapayapaan ng mga panahon na yon, kaya wala po tayong masyadong military action dyan po sa may lugar ng Eastern Mindanao. The question was, sorry, I have to translate. Why was the why was the number of incidents highest at the time in the Eastern Mindanao, and what were we doing about it? I guess that was the question. So our attention was focused on addressing terrorist threats in the area of Western Mindanao, and Eastern Mindanao remained to be relatively untouched because we were just performing normal military functions in these parts because of the ongoing peace talks at that time. Thank you.
Oh, okay, sir. Sir Dan, nung panahon na may Marawi crisis, meron po kayong binanggit na ibang mga sinasabi niyong prenteng organisasyon para na nagtuturo po doon sa mga lumads po. Ito po mga nakaraang araw, may mga pahayag po yung ilang human rights groups na meron daw pong mass evacuation sa ibang lumad community at nagpapatupad daw po ng food blockade ang AFP. At medyo nagugutom na raw po yung mga katutubo natin doon. Ano po yung pahayag nyo rito?
Unang-una, nais ko ring balikan yung unang tanong mo. Ang pinakamalaking bilang ng armadong grupo ay nasa Eastern Mindanao as far as Mindanao is concerned. So, sa bawat 4 na armadong miyembro ng NPA, 3 doon lumad. Yan ay batay sa aming pag-aaral. Ang rason kaya yung bilang niyan ay nakikita natin ay dahil mas mainam nilang nare-recruit ang mga katutubo natin, das mas madali nilang lokohin. Karamihan sa ating katutubo, maaring hindi masyadong mataas ang kanilang pinag-aralan at nasa kalabundukan sila at malayo sila sa kabihasnan, kat hindi sila masyadong sanay sa mga galaw na maaring ginagawa nitong mga kakaliwa. Kaya mas mainam nilang nare-recruit itong mga vulnerable na katutubo natin. So that is what we have in the statistics. Now, as we have ended formal peace talks, and as we pursue them, we expect the similar tactics or methodologies that the left has been using. They will try to entice, they will make our indigenous peoples in the mountain go down to the city centers as evacuees and confront local governments and national governments and give demands, which they have been doing ever since. If I may bring you back to the early days of 2016, before the switches in the administration occurred, there was such a thing as a Lumad March to Manila, And again, the big bulk of those people who made their way from Mindanao to Manila were also our IPs or our lumads. So, batay sa kanilang ginagawang mga galaw, tulad ng mga nangyari nung early 2016, in-expect namin na ganun uli ang kanilang gagawin. Kaya itong mga evacuation, ng mga bakwit, expected na po yan.
So wala pong food blockade na pinapatupad?
Wala po kaming pinasasagawang food blockade. At lahat po ng tulong na napupunta po sa ating IDPs, kung mayroon man o evacuees, ay nasa poder na po ng local government. At kami lang po ang nagbibigay ng seguridad.
Okay.
Sir, last na lang, sir. Sir, synonymous po ba yung pagdideklara ng Pangulo sa as terrorist organization sa CPP-NPA sa all-out war pong ng AFP versus NPA?
Wala tayong pinag-uusapan na all-out war pa dito, no? Ang deklarasyon ng ating mahal na Pangulo sa grupo ng NPA bilang isang terrorist organization ay isang proseso na sinimulan pa lang. So, if I may say it, and I brought along our Judge Advocate General because I need a lifeline for legal matters. I'm not a lawyer myself. But based on my understanding, ang ginawang hakbang ng mahal na Pangulo ay nagsimula ng isang proseso. So itong proseso na ngayon ay sinusunod natin at sana matapos ito kaagad. So kinakailangan pa nating ihain ang isang petisyon sa korte upang ganap na matawag nating kaliwa o terorista itong mga makakaliwa.
Okay, thank you, Raymond Tinasa.
Sir, just quick 2 points. Sir, considering the Maute brothers and Istilon Hapilon were already killed, do we have any information who are calling the shots now to do the recruitment of possible new members of the ISIS-inspired group?
For probably what you're alluding to is the group of the Maute group that was in Marawi. Tama ba?
No, now who is or what group or who are the leaders, considering na the Maute brothers, the Maute leaders,
Yes,
and
yes.
Isnilon Hapilon were dead
I
already?
understand.
So who are now recruiting?
Well, first off, the group we're talking about is an aggregation of several groups. Itong Dawla Islamiyya ay, or DIWM, ay grupo ng mga nanggaling sa Maute, grupo na nanggaling sa ASG na pinamunuan ni Hapilon, grupo nang galing sa iba pang maliliit na teroristang organisasyon na nandyan sa Mindanao tulad ng AKP at iba pa. So, and we call this group the Dawla Islamiyya. So, if you're talking about that group, there is no clear evidence that they have a new leader. There is no, they're still scattered all around, disorganized, and no leader, leaderless. So we are closely watching and monitoring, and we have determined that there are attempts to once again build up their forces through recruitment. And yung target ng recruitment ay yung aking binanggit kanina. Itong mga kamag-anak ng mga namatayan dyan, ng mga fighters nila, yung mga vulnerable part ng ating society tulad ng mga bata, estudyante, at mga kababaihan.
There are reports that during the peace talks, the NPA are busy recruiting and strengthening their forces. So can we admit that actually the peace talks period became advantageous or edge for the NPA to, recruit more members and strengthen their ranks?
Well, it was only logical that because of the period of peace brought about by the peace talks and the relative lack of concrete government action to check on their movements, it was apparent that they would have used that as to their advantage. And that, I would say, is one, that they wanted to increase their membership through recruitment, or their areas of movement to other areas.
Okay, thank you, Raymond. Last question, Joseph Moro on Bangon Marawi.
Sir, sa martial law.
Yes.
Tama, no? We will be basically just retaining the existing martial law as far as the coverage is concerned. Mindanao.
Again, as I mentioned, the AFP forwarded the recommendation, and the Secretary of National Defense submitted that recommendation to the palace. Now, our recommendation is separate and different from the recommendation of the police, which shall form the body of recommendations that will be used in deciding for its extension. Now that there is no definite decision yet, we cannot comment on it. So hindi pa natin alam kung ito ay papayagan o apruban. Pero be that as it may, masasabi lang namin is naihayag, naibigay na namin, naisumiti na natin ang ating rekomendasyon.
Okay.
So yung desisyon na lang ang ating hintayin.
Just on the recruitment, how widespread is this and what are we doing to counter it?
There were two questions on recruitment. Recruitment by the terrorist organization Dawla Islamiyah and the recruitment of similar to the NPA. Which of these two are
The Maute.
So when it comes to the terrorist organization, the Dawla Islamiyah, yes, there is recruitment being conducted, and I'm not at liberty to discuss this because if I tell you the areas from where they were monitored, we may unduly disturb what is currently being done to address all of this.
All right, fair enough.
Wala pa naman si Secretary Duque. Sige,
Ay,
last.
sir, isa na lang po. Sir, meron pa pong report sa presensya ng foreign jihadists po sa Mindanao.
Yes, meron. May patuloy pa rin po tayong nakikitang ilang presensya. May mga foreigners pa rin nananatili dyan. Dun sa ating naging krisis sa Marawi, may 32 po tayong foreign terrorists na monitor. At may katibayan po tayo sa lahat ng ito. Pero may naiiwan pa rin pong iilan sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Mindanao maaari. At hindi ko lang po batid kung ano yung mga pangalan nito.
So may
Yung
wala
iba po
pong-
dito matagal na. Matagal na pumasok bago pa man po nagsimula ang kaganapan sa Marawi.
So wala pong kasama dun sa classified as foreign terrorist po ng US State Department.
I'm not aware. I will get back to you. I'll check.
Okay, Joseph?
Just from Carol Arguidas from Mindanao News, no? Phone in which areas in Mindanao is the threat from ISIS or NPA most prominent? And so why all over yung cover? And is it justified to declare or to extend martial law to cover all of Mindanao, sir?
Again, in answer to that question, may I go back to my previous statement that it is merely a recommendation that comes on the part of the armed forces. The approving authority will always be our civilian leadership. So whatever recommendation was forwarded, it shall not be us who shall say so, if it is approved or not. That's why we could not comment if it will be continued or not, because the recommendation stays as a recommendation until such time that a decision has been made. Now, in reference to the question on the threats in Mindanao, I just laid down some predicate and I cited statistics a while ago of what kind of threats are confronted in Western Mindanao as well as in Eastern Mindanao. Now, the basis for military action and security action in Mindanao is actually to stabilize Mindanao so that we can create a stable environment to make room for economic development. And economic development is very important because that is what we actually aspire for, a progressive and all-inclusive growth in the area. When I say all-inclusive, we are aiming to have this development trickle down to the very lower members of society so that they can feel they can have what they truly deserve. Okay, this is the aspiration of the government, and I can tell you that it is the aspiration of every soldier on the ground. Now, we have rules of engagement. I know that in the minds of many, there may be apprehensions on the continuation of martial law. Again, we are not saying it's going to be continued because no decision has been made. But for the period that we have implemented martial law in the whole of Mindanao, if there were any serious offenses committed by the military, we're open to any investigation. And we have said that. We are a transparent organization. We abide by human rights, and we respect human rights, and we abide by international humanitarian law. We clearly make this as a part of our rules of engagement. And in the coming year, should it be approved, we can guarantee you that the armed forces will continue to be the same professional organization that has been implementing martial law these past few months. And if there are any complaints again, we are a transparent organization. We are open to investigation, and we will make accountable anyone among our ranks who have violated anything.
Okay, thank you, General Padilla. Friendly reminder, meron pa tayong Secretary Duque. Last question.
Sir, short message lang po. Kasi kahapon po sinabi ng Commission on Human Rights na paiimbestigahan daw po nila yung inkwentro ng AFP sa Batangas na
Okay.
ikinamatay nung 15.
Hindi lang po yun. Yung enkwentro sa Batangas, yung kaganapan na nangyari sa Mindanao tungkol sa pagkamatay ng ilang mga magsasaka, isa rin po yun sa mga issue na ating nababasa po, no? Pero isa lang po ang sabihin ko bago ko sagutin yung sa Batangas. Yung issue po sa Mindanao, karamihan po na nagko-complain at nag-iingay tungkol sa mga kaganapan dyan na hindi po tiga Mindanao, tiga Labas po, tiga Luzon. At karamihan dyan ay alam namin mga makakaliwang organisasyon. Kasi mainam po ang aming pakikitungo. Let me just say that in English. Mainam ang aming pakikitungo sa mga nasa baba. At ang aming mga commanders on the ground are directly in touch with the community and are ably explaining the consequences. Now, all the incidents that we have had by far with the NPA have been legitimate and deliberate military operations that have targeted known members of the NPA. Now, as far as the Batangas incident is concerned, where 15 members of the NPA were killed in an operation by combined forces from the police and the armed forces, as well as the recovery of 15 firearms. May I emphasize that? There were 15 firearms that were recovered. Is a legitimate military operation. And if the CHR wishes to investigate, yes, by all means, please do so that the truth will come out. And we have nothing to fear, we have nothing to hide. We will openly and we will support the CHR in its investigation because we are confident that we are on the right side here.
Okay, thank you. Secretary Andanar, can we have Secretary Duque now?
Okay, so thank you again, Secretary Martin and General Padilla. We at the Department of Health have created a task force for the management of concerns related to the school-based immunization initiative using the tetravalent dengue vaccine. And this is part of the agency's commitment to closely monitor and attend to the health of those immunized with the vaccine, even after these immunization activities were put on hold by us at the DOH last week. The task force is composed of top management officials of the DOH Central Office and of the affected regions, along with its attached agencies, namely the Food and Drug Administration, PhilHealth, and the National Children's Hospital. This task force will conduct a thorough review of the dengue vaccination initiative, which started in March 2016, and the new evidence on safety provided by Sanofi. This shall guide the Department of Health in responding to the safety concerns relevant to the use of this vaccine and how to proceed with the dengue program to ensure safeguards and prevent similar incidents in the future. We at the DOH reiterate our commitment to heighten surveillance and monitoring activities on all 800,000 students vaccinated with dengue vaccine. We will be hiring 30 additional surveillance officers to be deployed immediately to our hospitals in the 4 regions where these anti-dengue vaccination activities were conducted. We will be deploying them immediately for active surveillance and data collection in these hospitals. Surveillance will be done for 5 years, and this is part of our commitment to the parents and children who were immunized with the anti-dengue vaccines. The Health Department is currently updating the master list of children given dengue vaccine in coordination with our DOH field offices and the Department of Education. The task force on dengue vaccine will have a legal team to look into the accountability of Sanofi Pasteur, the company which marketed dengue vaccine with an initial claim that the vaccine was safe and effective for all individuals aged 9 to 45 years old. The French pharmaceutical giant later on acknowledged that the vaccine is not recommended for people who have had no prior dengue infection, lest the vaccination increases the risk of severe dengue. As this disclosure was made only after the health department had already vaccinated thousands of school children. And of course, the news, as you are all very much aware of, created a scare among our parents and the Filipino public. We will demand the refund of the 3 billion paid for the dengue vaccine, and that Sanofi set up an indemnification fund to cover the hospitalization and medical treatment for all children who might have severe dengue. I also announced that the PhilHealth is ready to cover the expenses of any child who may be hospitalized for severe dengue. PhilHealth's dengue case rate can cover up to 16,000 for severe dengue, which includes hospitals and physician fees, as well as other hospital support interventions in the management of the dengue cases. We will continue to be vigilant in monitoring our children for any adverse event following immunization, and will strengthen the readiness of our public hospitals in attending to any severe dengue cases that may occur. Thank you. Questions?
MPC questions? Hannah?
Good morning, Secretary.
Good morning.
Sir, meron na po ba kayong reports po natanggap na yung mga bata na po na-immunize po ng Demvaxia, na nagkaroon po ng malubhang sakit po?
Meron tayong isang nakuhang ulat mula sa Region 3 at ito ay patungkol sa isang, this is about a 12-year-old female student from Tarlac. I'm not at liberty to disclose the name, of course, who was initially admitted at a private hospital, Jackson's, and then later on, where there she was diagnosed to have a positive dengue virus using the antigen NS1 and positive for IgM, the antibody present normally against dengue virus. And then also the symptoms of low platelet count reaching 24,000, and the normal is 250,000 to about 450,000. And with hypotension, not hypertension as the newspaper mentioned, it's hypotension, low blood pressure, probably about 60/40, and so that was a diagnosis: severe dengue with hypotension and bradycardia, means slowing of the heart rate. Okay, so this was now transferred to JB Lingad Hospital. This is a DOH retained hospital, where consistent with the initial diagnosis, they reported the same to me. But luckily, after some time, the child has recovered, and thank God that she has recovered after having been managed quite effectively by our physicians from the JB Lingad Hospital. So that's one. I'm awaiting another one that's anytime coming soon from Cebu. It will take a little bit more time because we don't want to be giving out very patchy information or data. So we need to validate all of this so as to ensure the credibility of our report. Okay, so this is so far what I can give you as an update.
Sir, anong message nyo dun sa mga magulang po ng mga bata, sir? Assurance na yung government tutulungan yung mga anak nila, or information na ibibigay sa kanila na kapag napansin nila na may signs and symptoms ng dengue, ano ang dapat nilang gawin? I-report pa agad nila sa hospital na yung mga anak nila ay isa doon sa thousands ng mga bata na nag-undergo ng immunization para alam din ng mga hospitals or doctors yung gagawin po.
Yes, thank you for answering some of your questions yourself. Sorry. Ito po ang gagawin ng inyong Department of Health. 5 bagay. Number 1, we will now complete the master list of all the 830,000 thereabouts of vaccinated children in regions 3, 4A, NCR, and of course, Cebu province and its component cities, Cebu City, Lapu-Lapu City, and Mandaue City. That's number one. Number two, we have set up a dengue hotline for the benefit of our parents of the children that were who were vaccinated, and the hotlines, I would say, would be 711-1001 and 711-1002. I'll give you now later on the hotlines that we have established for regions 3, 4A, and also NCR pa rin, and Cebu province. No? That's number two. Number three, we're going to heighten surveillance. And under a more profound or heightened surveillance, we will do the following things. Number one, we will have a mandatory history taking of the immunization of all the vaccinees. Number two, we will have a mandatory reporting of all hospitalized cases of vaccinees, irregardless of their symptoms. Para matutukan po natin yan, alamin natin, kagaya ng ginawa natin, dito natutukan po natin. At sa mga nagkakasakit na mga nabakunahan. Number three, there will be a mandatory investigation of each of these cases. And then, of course, we will also have a post-vaccination 5-year surveillance from April 2016, or rather March 2016, when the vaccination began. So, kailangan magmatsyag ho tayo, maging mapagmatsyag ang inyong DOH para ma-monitor natin and report and analyze the data. And so, kailangan ko din hong bigyan diin sa ating pong mga magulang. Naintindihan po natin ang inyo pong nararamdaman, ang inyo pong pangangamba. Natural lang po yan sa bawat magulang. Ako po ay magulang din. In fact, ako din po ay nagkaroon ng dengue. Kaya alam ko po itong ano ang pakiramdam. Tama po kayo, meron naman talaga hong pangamba na inyong nararamdaman. Ngunit, ang programang dengue vaccination ay hindi ho pwedeng isipin ito na hiwalay doon po sa mga ibang pamamaraan na tugunan ang problemang dengue. So in other words, it has to be complemented. The vaccination program has to be complemented with the Department of Health's 4S. What is the number one S? It's search and destroy yung mga pamugaran na mga lamok at kitikite at maglinis ng mga kapaligiran. Number two ay self-protective measures, wearing of long sleeves, long pants, application of insect repellents. This will help. No? Number three, which to me is one of the more important of the 4 S's. No? It's seek early consultation when there's fever, high fever, lasting for more than 2 days, and then showing constitutional symptoms such as headaches, body malaise, severe pain behind the eyes, headache, abdominal pain, nausea, and vomiting. No? And also rash, skin rash, usually in the trunk or the abdomen. Of course, say yes to selective fogging when there is evidence of outbreak in your communities. No? So ito po ay kailangan may complementation. At bakit ko po binibigyan diin ito? Yung po mga pamilya na may mga anak naman na nabakunahan, hindi naman lahat ng anak nabakunahan. May mga ibang hindi rin nabakunahan. So, mahalaga na talagang sundin itong 4S ng inyong Department of Health. So, ako po'y nananawagan sa inyo na maging mapagmatyak din po kayo bilang mga magulang. Bantayan niyo po ang mga sintomas na akin pong nabanggit at huwag na po kayo mag-atubili o magdalawang isip pa. Mangyari lang pong dalhin niyo na sa inyong pinakamalapit na doktor or pagamutan. At mahirap na ho yung sa bandang huli tayo magsisisi. So I think kinakailangan pagkaisahan po natin ito. Ayaw po natin yung nangyari. Ngunit andyan na po yan. Kinakailangan po pagkaisahan natin matugunan ng epektibo itong hamon na ito para sa ating lahat.
Okay, JP Bencito to be followed by Joseph Morong and Laila Salaveria.
Hi, Secretary. Good morning
Good
po.
morning.
Sir, can I go to the legal case? Opo, I believe you said in a television interview yesterday that the government is preparing a legal case against Sanofi. Sir, how high yung level na pwede maging implicated dito sa mga cases na to? Sino pa kaya yung ibang officials that could be liable for this mess?
Well, for one, I don't want to preempt the outcome of the investigation which the Senate and the House of Representatives will conduct Monday and Wednesday, respectively. And then the DOJ, I heard, has already signed the order for the NBI to begin its in-depth investigation of those who might be accountable for this problem with Dengvaxia. And so we will have to await as the investigation progresses. I'm sure that some of the information that you're asking for will be known. So just wait. But the DOH, for its part, has to cooperate here. Certainly, it will provide the important, pertinent documents. No.
Sir, the purchase of the vaccine was made during the time of former Health Secretary Garin and during the Aquino presidency. Sir, could they be included in the lawsuit that could be filed? Also, can we get your thoughts, sir, on there were some reports and some rumors from the medical community that allegedly the good Secretary Garin flew to Paris to meet with officials of Sanofi. Sir, as the current...
Who are you referring to, the good secretary? This secretary?
Garin.
Okay.
Garin, opo. The other good Secretary Garin. Yeah. Sir, as the current Secretary of Health, what are your thoughts on this? That the Secretary of Health allegedly met with a manufacturer, a supplier for an intended purchase of government medicines or procurement.
Well, I heard that too, no? But it's hard to second guess the former Secretary of Health and also the former President. But it's really up to them if they would like to clarify several issues on the matter, because they were the ones who made the very vital decision to procure the vaccines, and the circumstances around which that decision was made are something that I really am not privy to, no? So we will just have to await what their testimonies will be, but it will be good for everyone. I believe very strongly it is going to be good for everyone to come forward and to say his or her piece and to explain. Otherwise, there will be too many speculations, no? And sometimes there are innuendos, very toxic speculations or innuendos, no? So to prevent that from snowballing might be good. Sabihin na lang kung ano talaga, because I'm sure they actually meant well. I have no doubt that they did mean well. The president and the department head were guided, based on the feedback and from the documentary evidence that the WHO guidelines were in fact followed, which were three. The guidelines include, number one, giving the vaccines to communities where there is 70% of the population that has been exposed to the dengue. Number two is that this should be given to children ages 9 to and individuals 45 years of age, no? 9 to 45. And lastly is the giving of the three vaccines to complete it. No? But then, of course, a lot has changed after the Sanofi's disclosure or rather on November 29, when they said that for those that have not had any history of dengue infection and had been vaccinated with dengue vaxia, that they have observed severe dengue reaction or disease once that vaccinated child or individual gets bitten by a mosquito and had the dengue virus. No? So then the WHO, my latest information is that the Strategic Advisory Group of experts will convene on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we are awaiting the new recommendation. It's going to be a one-pager recommendation from the WHO, and that will influence a great deal the next steps that we will pursue at the Department of Health.
Okay, thank you, JP. Joseph Morong, last two questions na tayo.
Sir, so far the DOH is willing to admit that there are 2 cases so far, no? You mentioned
One's validated, the other one
valid-
is being validated
the Cebu
as
one,
we
no?
speak.
Okay, so dalawa yan, sir, officially.
Yes, sir.
All right. So if we have cases like this, I'm going to the effectivity of the vaccine, no? If you have cases like this, I think you have 2 populations here, no? Ang concern natin is yung those that did not have dengue and got dengue vaccine, correct? So yung dalawa, sir, came from that population.
Well, the one I can say with certitude, and I forgot to include in my information report that the girl, 12-year-old student from Tarlac, had the history of dengue vaccination in March 2016, and then followed by October of 2016, and then the last one being August of 2017. Now, this is very important for you to understand. I did say earlier press con that according to Sanofi's disclosures and studies, they've said that it will give 13-month protection, more or less. For even the group of vaccinees that had no prior dengue infection and had been vaccinated, okay? But I started counting. So if you start counting from March 16 to when we found out the case this week, that's like 20 months. And that's a far cry from the 30 months they were saying. So this is one thing that I want to ask them, okay? Now, that's assuming that you are beginning from the first time that student got vaccinated. But if you were to take the last date of vaccination, which is like 2-3 months ago, then it's really truly a cause for concern, because we really don't know whether was it the first one that instigated that reaction or is it the last one. Okay, so there are many now areas or facets of this a very difficult issue that's unraveling, no? Because are we talking also about the possibility that the dengue vaccine might not be effective? Kasi, you know, people get bitten by the mosquito. Di ba? That's the way we get infected, right? Now, do we know that that vaccine is effective or not? Although they keep saying that for those who have had prior infection, kasi ganito yun, no? Let me explain. If I had dengue infection, assuming dengue strain number 1, okay, I get a lifetime immunity from dengue strain 1. The problem is I'm not protected against dengue strains 2, 3, and 4. And that's the logic and the rationale why you're being vaccinated. So I hope that's very clear. However, let me also just highlight the fact that the protection of the vaccine is not 100%. Huh? It's from a range of 40 to about 80%, again, depending on the strain that infected you. So I just want the parents to understand that this is not a 100% protection. So that kahit na meron ka ng bakuna, still you have the possibility, though slight, of still contracting the infection. Okay? So yun ang gusto ko lang linawin.
Yeah, but just focusing on the Vaxxa, do they claim, the Sanofi claim that it's going to protect those vaccinees from all types of strain?
Well, that was the
Claim.
information. That was the claim. Although they never said it's 100% protection.
Yeah, okay. So, sir, just on the official position of the DOH, given that case in Tarlac, are you saying that the effectivity of the vaccine is under question?
Oh, most certainly.
Okay, sir. So, sir, when we purchased the vaccine in March, did we know that there's going to be a pending study such that we could have maybe postponed it until we have that kind of study?
I think the studies, again, the information. You see, I'm only relatively new on the job. I mean, it's my first month, no?
Yes, sir.
And so I've been told that the information, there's a possibility, a strong possibility that they might have not disclosed an information with regard to findings of severe dengue reaction, severe dengue infection in children who never had the infection but got vaccinated. No? Para may ganon na sinasabi, it was not disclosed, and that has been there. Now, although, of course, just like most medicines, like other vaccines, there's always a long term. You know, the studies are long term because certainly there will be certain outcomes, no, that you didn't expect were gonna come out. But ganun talaga, ganun naman ang science of, you know, medicines, vaccines. Why do I say this? You remember the drug regrow for the hair? Sorry for those who've lost their hair, no? Okay. The regrow was the initial indication for that was for hypertension. So they started drinking it. That's the minoxidil. And then afterwards, people who started drinking it started saying, oh, lumalago ang buhok. The hair was growing, you know, thick and long. And so they were saying, so this was an observation. So the company that manufactured it said, oh, teka, that's a serendipitous finding. So now, nag-shift na yung business model niya from an antihypertensive drug to a hair regrow formula. Okay. Remember the Viagra?
Okay. So
Okay? Okay.
I don't know what that is, though.
Me too. I don't even know how it looks and the color.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let me just tell you this. This is a bit interesting, okay? The Viagra's original indication was for hypertension also. So a cohort of students from certain universities in London had been, you know, volunteered to be a sort of a guinea pig, so to speak. No, they would try this. And then, but I can't really, subject to your validation. And then they were saying once they were given this, natapos na yung study. So tapos na. But they started coming back and then they were saying, pwede bang pahingi pa? Humingi pa yung mga volunteers sa clinical trial. So nagtaka yung mga tao, sabi nila, bakit gano'n? So they were saying, yun pala yung side effect niya, no? Toing. You know, hello.
Just going back on the subject matter, sir. Just going back on the subject matter.
In a way,
we have a party later. You can come over and let us talk. But sir,
meron pang the mouthwash.
Okay, so going back, sir, to a very serious matter, sir.
Of course, definitely.
So, sir, you said that there's a possibility that Sanofi did not disclose that they still have a study that they have to do, correct? Yeah. So did we purchase the vaccine prematurely?
Again, I cannot definitively answer that. Definitively answer it with a yes, because as I've not really read or perused the voluminous materials, you know, dami yan. Yes, because you're talking about historical documents dating back to 2015, no? Yeah, so I'll have to pore over all of these documents and then hopefully be able to come close to an answer that would satisfy you.
Just one last point, sir. How was it funded?
I think it was funded, originally the source was from the proceeds collected from the same taxes. Yes, and then this was used, I think there was a savings. I don't know if it was from the PS savings. It's a kind of patchy information that I have. But that was the money, yes.
Is it DOH
3.5
fund
billion.
or some agency?
I don't think it was a I don't think it was a part of the DOH budget. It wasn't.
It wasn't?
It wasn't.
Kanino, sir?
They just had, there was an instruction to the PCMC to purchase the vaccine.
PCMC,
using
Philippine
that
Children's
budget.
Medical Center?
Philippine Children's Medical Center.
Okay, so for PCMC's use,
For all.
this is DAP, sir? Is this DAP?
I don't think so.
Why, sir?
Well, I don't know. Probably is the better answer is I don't know.
Kasi, sir, di ba yung realignment, unless it is savings, you cannot do that.
I don't know.
Pero, sir, you will confirm that PCMC budget.
It's not PCMC budget. It's a budget that was given to PCMC because the instruction was for it to do the procurement.
But was it in the sir, kasi sa budget line item tayo, di ba? If Congress says DOH will give budget A to PCMC, that's for expense A.
That's right.
It cannot be expense B, C, D.
Unless there's a realignment.
So it's a realignment, probably.
But we don't know the originating
kind of-
fund.
That's going to be problematic, sir, just in case.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Thank you,
we'll
Joseph.
wait. I'm sure that all of these will surface once the investigation is begun.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Raymond, last. Ay, si Laila pala. Sorry, si Laila sa labi.
Kalimutan mo naman.
Oo nga, sorry, Laila. Microphone.
Sir, on the our demand for refund, how are we going to ask for this? Is there a clause in our contract that requires Sanofi to return the amount we pay them in case of developments like this?
Well, we'll look at the stipulations in the contract entered into by the DOH and the Sanofi. Right now, the legal services group of the DOH is looking into the contract and the undertakings and the agreements. So if that's part of the grandfather clause that says, at least the bottom line is for the unused vaccines, we ought to be reimbursed for them, okay, to protect the interests of the national government. And then put up an indemnification fund, okay, precisely to get the money to pay for hospitalization costs of students or individuals that had been vaccinated and manifested severe symptoms of dengue infection. Only for those group, for that group, one group lang. No? See, iba naman, there's evidence that yung nagkaroon na ng exposure sa dengue, effective naman yung kanilang bakuna. Okay? So, suffice it to say that the indemnification fund, this is a mitigating measure. One of the mitigating measures. At least the parents will say, hindi na namin problemahin yung pondo. Pero kasi I mentioned earlier, PhilHealth will pay for the dengue case, no? At a case rate of 8 and 16,000. Pero kung tumaas pa doon sa babayarin ng PhilHealth, yung Sanofi na sasagot. O kung hindi, kung mainit din ang ulo ng PhilHealth, sisingilin din niya lahat ng mga ginastos niya. Why not? I mean, that's something that can be explored. It's not an improbability.
Has Sanofi given any indication that they're willing to return the amount we pay them?
No, I cannot second guess them. I'll find out once we get to talk them. And I'm inviting them together with the EXICOM. It's going to be the whole EXICOM of the DOH. Well, that's the ideal scenario, is to get back all 3 billion. But of course, that will, you've got to prove a lot first. No? Kasi if the other vaccinees naman benefit from the protection, baka hindi mo na pwedeng bawiin yun. So mahaba ito. I'm sure I look at it quite easily. It's going to end up in a long-drawn, possibly long-drawn litigation.
Sir, the task force that you created, will this also look into the previous actions of the health officials if there had been any negligence or impropriety?
Well, all of that will have to be allowed to surface in the investigation, because the OJ is investigating Senate and the House of Reps, and plus, of course, with the DOH, and then our own task force. So we'll complement. No.
Thank you, Laila. Sorry. Last question, Raymond.
Please, no oras. Quarter to one now.
Good afternoon, Secretary. Sir, Sir,
Yes.
why is it that when Assistant Secretary Lindoy Lisoy conducted the press con here, he sounded like as if that Deng Vaxio was a manna from heaven. So, and now, as I can sense, you are saying that this is something questionable or doubt to the efficiency and safetiness of that medicine. So, why is it? Where is he coming from?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't here, but I know he has changed his tune. Because remember the Sanofi press release the other day? After this November 29, nag-press release sila, di ba? At sabi nila, yes, we've seen dengue symptoms grades 2, 3, but not grade 4. Okay? I questioned that yesterday in my interview. I said, okay, you did see symptoms categorized under grades 1 and 2 by WHO of dengue infection, okay? Dengue hemorrhagic fever. And you said you didn't see dengue grade 4, okay? Symptoms. What happened to the grade 3? How come you're not mentioning the grade 3? And I'll read to you the grade 3. Grade 3 classification of dengue symptoms necessarily includes 1 and 2, right? And grade 3, there's rapid, or there is rather circulatory failure, rapid and weak pulse, narrow pulse pressure, hypotension. No? Yung nabanggit ko. No, hypotension, cold, clammy skin. Di ba, doesn't that sound familiar with the one case? Oh. So, I told Yusek Lindon about that. So, you cannot say that the symptoms are limited to grades 1 and 2, classification of the WHO. So we have to be prudent here, and we have to, be as accurate as we can possibly be. No? Otherwise, we'll be perceived, as something else.
Sir, last one. You said that PhilHealth will shoulder the expenses. What about those non-members of the PhilHealth?
Well, highly unlikely because we have 92% coverage. So that's 92 million Filipinos are covered with PhilHealth insurance.
Okay, thank you, Raymond. Pero sir, kinausap kayo ni President Duterte about Demvaxa. Yun nangyayari.
Well, alam na nila because we give reports. So I'm sure the President is aware of these developments.
Okay, thank you, Secretary Duque. Secretary Andanar.
Thank you, Rocky. Thank you so much, Secretary Duque. Thank you so much, General Padilla. And I'd like to remind everyone who's watching, if you need more information about Bangon Marawi, you can check out bangonmarawi.com, the website, and also an announcement from the Mindanao Development Authority that they still continue to address home-based Marawi IDPs together with the Cabinet Spouses Foundation. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Secretary Andanar. Thank you, General Padilla. Thank you, Secretary Duque. Thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Back to my studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and PTV.